Rabbi Sai, here's the situation. And we had a class a month ago, right? So we had time to forget. We could go over the whole thing again. And it was our first class of the year. 1 month ago was our first class of the year. So we did an introduction, basically. That was the class. It was an introduction to the school year. We're going to be doing all year. I mean, whatever. This class is two things. It's siches and it's siddur. And basically, I do whatever I want. What a nice thing to say. So what happens is we learn siches for a few weeks and then we go to siddur for a few weeks. In other words, I don't want to change every week because the topics are so involved. So we do, for a while, we do siches, and then we do a while, we do siddur, and we go back and forth. Right now, currently, as we speak, we're in the middle of doing Chumash. And a month ago, when we met the last time, it was our first class of the year. So what I did was I reviewed the whole syllabus. In other words, what we're doing is we're learning the stories of the Torah. We're learning the stories of the Torah through the lens of the Rebbe Sicha. That's what we're doing. So we're doing it for many years. We started from Lech Lecha. Now we're holding Yisrei. So each year I continue the material that I was doing for all these years. And what I tried to do in our last class was bring you up to speed, tell you what's going on. In other words, I gave you two classes. And by the way, for those of you who know me from the internet, I have a website called Inside Hasidus. That's where I live. That's my primary shlichus. If you're familiar with Inside Hasidus, so just today, the classes that I gave a month ago, I put up this morning. Now, why did I do them until now? That's a very good question. That's the Metzias, that's the fact. This morning, I put up the classes that I gave a month ago. And what I did then was, I went for the beginning of the Chodesh, and I told you in an hour and 15 minutes, approximately, the spirit of the Torah, as it's understood in Hasidus, and particularly in the Rebbe's Siches, until Parshas Yisrael. So today we're learning Chumash. Today's class is Chumash. Now, I'm not giving you Chumash classes, I'm giving you Siches classes. But I'm giving you Siches, here's a copy. If somebody needs a copy, the copy is here. I'm giving you Siches classes on the Chumash. In other words, we're journeying through the Torah from the beginning to the end, and sort of flushing out the pnimius, the neshama, the chasidus that's behind it. That's what we have been doing. And we're holding by Yisrael. Okay? So I'm gonna start in a moment. Everybody understands English, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes? Again, if you go to my website, my website has a lot of classes. One of the sections of the website is called Siches. You go to the website, there's a section called Siches. If you click on Siches, you'll get a whole bunch of pages. One of them is called themes. Themes means ideas, sugyot. If you open up themes, one of the options is our history through the Siches. If you open up that, you'll find 4 folders. The first folder is called the Patriarchs, Avot and Imahot, my first series of classes, the beginning of this syllabus that we're doing. We did the office of Nemois, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, which is basically Lech Lecha, Vayelech, Yitzhara, Toldos, Vayetze, and Vayishlach. With Siches, everything is with Siches. The second folder is called Yosef and his brothers, Yosef ve'achav, and we talk about the Shvatim, and that's Vayeshev, Miketz, Vayigash, Vayechi. And if you'll learn those siches, if you go back and listen to those classes, you'll understand that I try to explain that the Shvatim are already a Golos. The Shvatim are already a condition of Golos, especially when into Mitzrayim. The third section is called From Exile to Redemption, Migalut leGeula, Megoyla leGeula, and that's Shmois, Ve'era, Boy, Bishalach, 4 parshas. And we spent a lot of time on these parshas. We talked about Moshe Rabbeinu, we talked about the 10 Makis, we talked about Yetzias Mitzrayim, we talked about the Mon and the Vedish, Midian and Yaakov and Amalek, many things. The fourth folder is called You're Not Free Until You're a Servant of God. Our chedus, what makes us free, is that we serve Hashem. And that's the second half of Shmois. The first half of Shmois is going out of Mitzrayim. And the second half of Shmois is becoming a servant of God. And Sefer Shmois, the entire book of Shmois, is called Sefer Chumash HaGeula. The entire book of Exodus is that the Jewish people are free. But for it to be a free person, it's not enough not to have a master. It's very important to have freedom. And freedom we have through the Torah. In other words, the first 4 parshas of Shmois, Ve'era, Boy, B'Shalach, discuss how Hashem took away from us our oppressors, our Mitzrayim, our Meitzah. The rest of Shmois, which is really divided up into 2 subsections, is about how we got the Torah and became free. Now, how do you become free when you have the Torah? The Torah is a million rules. You can't do this, you can't do that. You have to do this on this day, and this at that hour, and all the other things, which makes the Torah on a Yiddish life so interesting. The answer to the question is, because the meaning of the word freedom is not that I can do whatever I want. The meaning of the word freedom is that whatever I want, I can do. I'll say that one more time, okay? The meaning of the word freedom is not I can do whatever I want. It's whatever I want, I can do. What does that mean? If I decide that I'm going on a diet, if I'm able to keep my diet, I'm free. If I'm not able to keep my diet, I'm a slave to food. If I decide to undertake a regimen of exercise, if I'm able to do it, I'm free. If I cannot do it, I'm a slave. I'm a slave to laziness. If I decide that I want to learn the whole Shas, the whole Gemara, and I'm able to do it, I'm free. If I decide I want to learn the whole Gemara, I can't do it, then I'm a slave to whatever weaknesses I have. This is why we're free in our connection to Hashem. We're not free by ourselves. By ourselves, we're slaves to the world. Whatever the world thinks today, we're slaves. Torah makes us free because it gives us values, it gives us a philosophy, it gives us a way of life that allows us to own ourselves, to be balabayas over myself. When you tell your goof no, it's no. When you tell your goof yes, it's yes. Any person who every time he tells himself to do something is able to do it, and anytime he tells himself not to do something, he's able to stop himself from doing it, that's a ben choyden, that's a free person. That freedom is only through the Torah. So the first part of Shmois, Ve'era, Boy, B'Shalach, is going out of Mitzrayim. The second part of Shmois, which is Yisrei and Mishpatim and parts of Kitisa, is Hashem giving us the Torah, and in giving us the Torah, the Eibush is giving us free. And by the way, the third part of Shmois, of the book of freedom, is the Asul Mikdash v'Shachanti B'Seichem, is making a Beis HaMikdash. And we're going to do that next. In other words, my plan is that we're going to do Yisrei, Mishpatim, and Kisisa. Then we're going to go back to Truma Tetzava and then the beginning of Kitisa and V'Yakov Kudei, because there's 2 aspects of being free. Number 1, that we do what Hashem wants, and number 2, we actually have a house for the Eibush to live, so we're able to go and have a connection to HaKadosh. So this is the direction, this is the trajectory, this is the plan, this is what we're going to be doing going forward. Okay? So in the beginning of Yisrael, Yidden left Mitzrayim, they left Egypt. And of course, when the Yidden left Egypt, there was a problem, a big problem. What was the problem with Yidden leaving Mitzrayim? The problem with Yidden leaving Mitzrayim is they were slaves. They were slaves. What's a slave? What's a slave? A slave is a person who doesn't own himself. But a slave is something else also. A slave is a person who has no self-responsibility. He doesn't know how to take care of himself. A slave is a human being that can be so broken that if you say go, he doesn't know where to go. He says, make your own decisions, he's not able to do it. So when we left Mitzrayim, there's two things that have to happen. Number one, you have to get Mitzrayim out of the way. And number two, you have to inject. You have to be zorek. You have to inject into the Jewish people chedus, freedom. And the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim, the exodus from Egypt, is as much about Hashem making us free as it is about taking away Mitzrayim, taking away our oppression. We had to become free people. And this is why in the story, in the Chumash, they're always complaining and always doubting Hashem and always questioning Hashem because they're not free. They're physically free. Their master, their Adon, is out of the way. But they don't know how to be free. They're not used to being free. And the Eibishter is giving us power to become free. And he's pushing us. As quickly as possible, we should get ourselves ready to receive the Torah. Parshas Yisrei is the beginning of Hashem giving us the Torah. What was the first thing we learned about Parshas Yisrei? About a guy named Yisrei. A guy. Huh? Better. Haya guy. Who had Ger Tzedek. Who Ger Tzedek, the first Ger Tzedek, the first righteous convert. Before the Eibishter gives Yidden the Torah, Yisrei shows up. Before the Eibishter gives Yidden the Torah, Yisrei shows up. Yidden left Mitzrayim, Pesach. Yisrei comes sometime between Pesach and Shavuos. In those few weeks, Yisrei heard what happened to the Jewish people. Yisrei took his daughter Tzipora, Moshe Rabbeinu's wife, and his two grandchildren, Eliezer, Gershom and Eliezer, who were Moshe Rabbeinu's children, and he brings them to the Midbar. And we're in the middle of this story. Okay? We're in the middle of this story. So we're going to read inside. I'm learning Chumash. Very simple. By Yishma Yisrei, Yisrei heard. Kohen Midian, who was in Midian, a very important man. He was a priest. He was a very respected person in Midian. Chodesh Moshe, who was also the father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu. Eis kol asheros. Everything that was done. Elikim by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, by the Eibishter, the Moshe, the Yisrael, Amen, the Moshe Rabbeinu, the Jewish people's people. He, Hoitzi Hashem, as Yisrael, Mitzrayim, they took us out of Mitzrayim. Yisrei heard everything the Eibishter did for the Jewish people, and Yisrei went away from Midian and he went out into the Midbar. The pashtus, on the simple level, he went into the Midbar to bring Moshe Rabbeinu's wife and to bring Moshe Rabbeinu's children to Moshe Rabbeinu. We all learned the story in Parshas Shmos that Moshe was gone from Mitzrayim for 80 years. One of the great ironies, Moshe Rabbeinu did not suffer. Moshe Rabbeinu was not in Golos. Miriam suffered with the Jewish people in Golos. Aaron HaKohen suffered with the Jewish people in Golos. But Moshe didn't suffer. Moshe was not in Golos. And when Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu to take Yidden out of Mitzrayim, Moshe Rabbeinu says, me? I left Mitzrayim 70 years ago. Moshe Rabbeinu was away from Egypt for 65 years. He comes back at the age of 80. He was gone from Egypt for more than half his life. And Hashem says, go to Mitzrayim, we take Yidden out of Mitzrayim. Moshe says, I should take Yidden out of Mitzrayim? Aaron, Miriam. They suffered with the Jewish people. They bled with the Jewish people. They cried with the Jewish people. They should be the ones that take Yidden out of Mitzrayim. I'm out of the picture. I wasn't here. And Hashem says, no, that's for you. Moshe, you have to take Yidden out of Mitzrayim. Obviously, first of all, because Moshe Rabbeinu has a very big neshama, especially neshama. And second of all, that in order to make a person free, you have to know yourself what freedom is. If Moshe had been a slave, if Moshe had been in Mitzrayim, he couldn't give Yidden freedom. Dafka, someone who was not in Mitzrayim, was able to take Yidden out of Mitzrayim in the spiritual sense. So Moshe comes to Mitzrayim. Who does he meet on the way? Who does he meet on the way? Anybody remember? He meets his brother. Aaron comes to meet him. Moshe is walking, and there's a donkey, and on the donkey is his wife and his two children and his belongings. And Aaron says to Moshe Rabbeinu, who are these people? So, this is my wife, meet Mrs. Tzipora. This is my son, Gershom, and Eliezer. So Aaron says, do you know what's going on in Mitzrayim now? You know how much Yidden are suffering? You want them to suffer also? They lived a good life. They're coming from Midian. They shouldn't suffer. Send them home. And Moshe Rabbeinu listens to Aaron HaKohen, and he sends his wife and his children back to Midian. He comes to Mitzrayim alone. Then a year and a half later, 2 years later, when Moshe Rabbeinu successfully takes Yidden out of Mitzrayim, Yisrael, Moshe Rabbeinu's father-in-law, comes to the Midbar with his wife, with his children. Oh, you forgot your wife and kids. I'm returning them to you. He brings Tzipora and he brings Eliezer and he brings Gershom back into the Midbar. However, the Midrashim say, and the Sfarim say, and Hasidus says, Yisrael did not only come for Tzipora. Yisrael did not only come for Gershom and Eliezer. Yisrael came for Yisrael. Yishma Yisrael. Yisrael heard. Let's read it again. Kohen Midian, the priest of Midian. Chodesh Moshe, the father of Moshe Rabbeinu. Is kol asheros. Everything that was done by Elokim, by the Eibishter, the Moshe, to Moshe Rabbeinu, and Israel, Amr to the Jewish people. Ki that Hoitzi Hashem. As he told me Mitzrayim, Hashem took the Jewish people out of Mitzrayim. He says, I gotta go. So last year, we learned 2 sikhs about why Yisrael had to go. Number 1, Yisrael came for us. Yisrael came for us. Hashem was not going to give the Torah to the Yidden until Klippa agreed with Kedusha. Yisrael was Chochmah of Klippa. Yisrael was a very smart guy. Yisrael's agreeing to the emes of Torah was necessary before Hashem would give the Torah, like it says in the Zohar. Yisrael emitech acheshet. And Yisrael Chacham and Asichas is an advantage of light after darkness and wisdom after foolishness. This goes on Yisrael and Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe had the Torah. Yisrael wasn't, and when Yisrael comes to get the Torah from the Eibishter, but it was when Klippa is transformed to Kedusha, then Kedusha acquiesces. Eibishter gives us the Torah. So the first reason Yisrael came is for us. Yisrael knew that if he's not there, Hashem is not giving us the Torah. But there's a second reason. And the second reason is for him. Yisrael understood that he cannot be a good person without getting the Torah from the Eibishter and Har Sinai. Because when a person has morality, has right and wrong, has tov and ra, which is based on his own mind, there are two problems. Number 1, you're missing the Eibishter, which is above your mind. And number 2, it's disconnected from your hand, action, which is below your mind. A person in his brain could understand the best moral life possible, but it doesn't necessarily affect his actions. Yisrael heard what Hashem did to the Jewish people. Yisrael said, I'm one of the smartest people who ever lived, but I cannot be complete without Hashem giving me a Torah, because I'm missing the highest thing, which is above Chochmah, and I'm missing the lowest thing, which is how all Seichel brings to Asiyah, the Torah brings to action. And for this reason also Yisrael came. So Parshas Yisrael begins by Yisrael coming, and he's not just coming to bring Moshe Rabbeinu's wife and children back to Moshe Rabbeinu. He's coming for himself. Number 1, because without him, Hashem wouldn't give us the Torah. Number 2, because Yisrael realized that without the Torah, he is missing something as smart as he is, and he needs to have the Torah for this. Okay? Questions or comments? It's all good? Everybody understands? Next pasuk. Yikach Yisrael, you say took. Chodesh Moshe, the father of Moshe Rabbeinu, as Tzipora. This girl named Tzipora. She was Ashes Moshe, she was wife of Moshe Rabbeinu. After he sent her away, or because he sent her away. Moshe Rabbeinu sent her away that she should not be B'tzaras as she would. She shouldn't suffer the rest of the Jews. And Yisrael brings Tzipora back. Right? The Midrash would say amazing things about Tzipora. She kept Moshe Rabbeinu alive for many, many years, and then eventually she married Moshe Rabbeinu. She saved Moshe Rabbeinu from the Malach who tried to kill him, kill Moshe. because he traveled without giving a bris milah to his son. Eliezer. Yeah. In Pacha Shmos, I don't know if you remember, there's a story that a creature, a beast, came into the mission of a woman and was eating him up alive, was following him. And she understood it because he got to make a bris on his younger son, that she made a bris, and then that beast went away. Later on, the Torah tells us that the V'atapeh made mother, I don't know if he ever divorced her, but he separated from her. And she went along with that. She was a very big tzaddik. She played it well. Moshe Rabbeinu was Yevis. Moshe had two sons, Gershom and Eliezer. The age Shneva now, along with their two sons. Hashem ha'echad Gershom. The first son's name is Gershom. What does Gershom mean? Ger means I'm a ger. I'm a foreigner. She Amar because he said, Ger Yisi, that's the Chiyah. I was an alien in a foreign land. When Gershom was born, Moshe Rabbeinu was living in Golos, out of Mitzrayim, and the Eibishter had helped him, even though he ran away from friends. I have a friend who's had a very hard life, harder than you could possibly imagine, a very, very hard life. When this friend of mine got married, he named his oldest son Menashe. You know why I named him Menashe? Why did Yosef name his son Menashe? Menashe means to forget. Yosef suffered so much in Mitzrayim. He was in jail for 13 years, 12 years. When he finally got out of jail and he got married, he had a little boy. He said, Hashem gave me a child and Hashem gave me a wife, so I should forget my Chodesh. Hashem made me forget. So he named his son Menashe to forget. Thank God I forgot my Chodesh. Moshe Rabbeinu gave his son a similar name. Not Menashe, because he forgot, but Ger Yisi, I was kicked out of inside to a different place, and I was lost in the world, and somehow I managed to survive. I even managed to get married. I even managed to have children. So I'm naming my child Ger Shoim, based on the word Ger to connote that Moshe Rabbeinu was celebrating the fact that even though he was in Golos, the Eibush helped him. By David HaMelech, you have the same thing also. David had to run away from Eretz Yisrael. He was running away from Avimelech, he was running away from Eretz Yisrael. And David HaMelech says, Gershuni hayoyim me'istapech v'nachas. David cries, I've been kicked out of Eretz Yisrael. I cannot serve Hashem. I'm in a foreign land. And then we say every Shabbos morning, the David, B'shanoisei is Psalm 34. The David, B'shanoisei is Tamer Lefnei Avimelech. Avimelech was the king of Plishtim. David the Melech came to Plishtim and he acted like as if he was mental, as if he was crazy. So Avimelech shouldn't kill him. And in the whole capital till David the Melech describes I was in Golos. Moshe Rabbeinu was also in Golos. And he named his son Ger Shem to connote that he did well in Golos. Moshe Rabbeinu did very, very well in Golos. The second pasuk says, "V'shem ha'echad Eliezer." The second one's name is Eliezer. Eliezer Avi B'Yezer. Eliezer means Eliezer. My God helped me. Avi B'Yezer. The God of my father was with me. He saved me from the sword of Padai. What does this mean? That before Moshe left his time, he was a little boy. Pilate tried to kill him because he killed the Mitzri. They took Moshe Rabbeinu, they put him on an executioner's block, and they lowered an axe on him. So one became blind, and one became deaf, and one became mute, and one became. Moshe ran away. Hashem saved him. His neck became shayyish, his neck became hard like stone. They were not able to kill him. So he named his second son, Elokei Avi Be'ezi, the Eibush to help him. Now, what's the irony here? What's funny about this? Which happened first? Eliezer Hashem. Which happened first? No. Eliezer was before he left Mitzrayim as a young man. When Moshe Rabbeinu Remember, he killed a Mitzi for killing a Jew, for beating up on a Jew. And then they were Dalturia, they informed on him and Moshe had to run away. That's when Eliezer happened. When did Gershom happen? When he was living by Yisrael. So chronologically, which event occurred first? You understand, like Eliezer, right? So how come he named his oldest son Gershom and his younger son Eliezer? He should name his oldest son Gershom, his younger son Eliezer. I'm sorry, his oldest son Eliezer, his younger son Gershom. First, Hashem saved him from the sword of Pare, and then the Eibishter made him comfortable with Eretz Nachriya. What's the answer to the question? Anybody home? You understand the question? You understand the question? What's the answer? In life, first you get rid of what's not good, and then you celebrate what's good. So yeah, he named Eliezer. You get rid of what's not good, and then you bring in like Menashe and Ephraim. Same thing. Menashe means he forgot his Chodesh. Ephraim means that the Eibishter gave him brachas. The first son of Moshe Rabbeinu represents Gerus. That Moshe Rabbeinu was a foreigner, and Hashem helped him even though he was a Gerus. The second name Eliezer means Hashem helped him, right? Hashem helped him. Now, literally, Hashem helped him by preventing the executioners from killing him in Mitzrayim. But he didn't name his son Eliezer only for that reason. He named his son Eliezer for all the thousands of things that Hashem did to him through his whole life in helping him. So even though it says in the Chumash, in Pasuk Dalet, that the reason he named the son Eliezer, because Hashem saved him from Cheder Pare, but the true name Eliezer is the whole life of Moshe Rabbeinu. Eliezer, it's like Hashem helps me. Hashem always helps me. So even though in chronology, in Zman, in time, Eliezer happened first, when he came to name his children, his older son, he named Gershom, because that's going away from bad. I was a Gade and Hashem helped me. I was a foreigner, I was an alien, I was in a different country, I didn't speak the language, I had no friends, had no family. And then he says, not only did I survive being a Gade, but okay, wherever I went, Hashem helped me. In other words, Gershom means Hashem took me out of bad, and Eliezer means Hashem brought me into good. So therefore he named his older son Gershom and younger son Eliezer. You understand? Yes? You understand? Yes? Huh? It's not so complicated. I mean, there's no Sikh of the Rebbe on this, but there's a Sikh on the Rebbe Menashe and Ephraim. What I just told you is based on the Sikh of Menashe and Ephraim. The Rebbe asked the same question. Why did he name his older son Ephraim? Ephraim means Ephraim Elikim Be'ereton, Hashem made me rich and successful. And Menashe means Hashem made me forget my tzaddik. First say thank you for the good, and then say thank you for protecting me from the bad. And the Rebbe says that's the way it goes. First, you get rid of what's not good. Menashe, Nashani, Elikim, Hashem made me forget. And if I forget all my tzaddik, then I can live. And the same is true with Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm just making the connection. First, Hashem takes him out of bad. Jeno Yisi, I was a foreigner in a foreign land, and Hashem helped me. Then Hashem brings him into good. Even though it says that literally he took the name Eliezer because of one story, but really Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't only mean that story. He means his whole life that Hashem always helped him. I want to tell you something very tragic. And I want to say it now. Okay? Is it a statement to say that Moshe Rabbeinu was the greatest Jew who ever lived?
What?
Is it fair? Is it that Moshe was the greatest Jew who ever lived? Till Mashiach. No, Moshe Rabbeinu was a big tzaddik. Yeah? Right?
Yeah.
Where's Moshe Rabbeinu's nachas? Yeah.
Why?
To his sons.
No fair.
Moshe has no nachas. Aaron's children become Kohanim forever. Moshe Rabbeinu was a tzaddik, the highest tzaddik. He got the Torah. He gave us the Torah. Who takes over his place? Not his children. Yeshua Benu. One of the tragedies of Moshe Rabbeinu.
That there is no continuing.
That's right. It's like the Rebbe had no children. Moshe had 2 children. Moshe doesn't have nachas. In fact, it says in Chazal that Gershom, or the descendant of Gershom, may have been one of the first Koyanim for Avodah Zarah. In the book of Shoftim, you have a story of Micha. You familiar with the book of Shoftim? The second sefer of Tanakh of Nevi'im is Shoftim, Judges. At the end of the book of Shoftim, you have two stories. One is the story of Pesach Micha, the Avodah Zarah of Micha, and the other is the terrible, terrible story of Pilegesh Begiva. If you've never learned Tanakh, these are very painful stories. But this guy, Micha, hired a Levi, Ben Halevi, to be koyim for his Avodah Zarah. It says even in Rashi, this was a descendant of Gershon. The first Avodah Zarah was connected to Moshe's own children. We don't find Moshe Rabbeinu having nachas from his kids, and it's upsetting. It's not fair, Moshe Rabbeinu was such a big tzaddik, isn't he entitled to nachas? Now, of course, Nistor Darkei Hashem. We cannot possibly know the ways of Hashem. Why this is this way? Aaron HaKohen has 4 sons. 2 of them are dying. And from the other 2, all Aaron HaKohen's nachas comes. Why some tzaddikim are zoiche, like David HaMelech, that it's Le'yemushu mipicho, Bizeracha, Bizerah, that for all generations, David HaMelech's children are kings, and Aaron HaKohen's children are koyanim, and so on. And even by Torah. Gemara says about Torah, that it was given in a desert. Torah was given in a midbar because it's hefker. Anybody who wants could take the Torah and make it his Torah. I even think it says goyim, but even by Torah we find Gedolei Yisrael who were zoicha that have children who continue the Messiah. The Alter Rebbe called in 3 chassidim. Near the end of his life. And he said to them, I want to make a shechayonu. And I want you to be witnesses that I made a shechayonu. Why? Because he saw the Chedusha Torah that Tzemach Tzedek. Tzemach Tzedek was 16 years old. And he said, I was zoicha that Torah is in my family 3 generations. Me, my son, the middle Rebbe, and my grandson, Tzemach Tzedek. And it says in the Pasuk, every day in davening we say, Bani Zois B'nisi, it goes on the Torah. Right? It shouldn't go away from your lips, from your children's lips, and your grandchildren's lips. So it says in Chazal, if the Torah is in one family for 3 generations, it's going to be in that family forever. So if the Torah stays in the mishpacha for 3 generations, it'll stay forever. So the Alter Rebbe was zoiche that he had him, his son, his grandson. So he made a shechayanu. Thank God that I need the Torah is going to stay. Moshe wasn't zoiche. Moshe was not zoiche. Moshe was the greatest of the greats, and he wasn't zoiche in a direct way to not with his children. Why? What's the answer? I don't know. And not only I don't know, it would be cruel. It would be very, very insensitive. It would be wrong to explain why something which every yid and certainly every tzaddik in the Gadol Yisrael wants, that your children should also be, and Moshe Rabbeinu was not zeichet to have this chus. But I'm going to say several thoughts. Okay.
What happened to his boys?
They were simple people.
Simple, not so little.
Even but they were not Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was Reb Shal Yisrael, and his children were whatever they did, they were regular people. And again, there is dayas that hold that this son Gershom's grandson was the first kohen for Avodah Zarah. You know what that means? In the time of the Bayis Ish, he did Avodah Zarah. Who did it start with? Moshe Rabbeinu's grandson. That's not fair. It's not fair, right? So this is the Metzias. He has 2 sons, but Moshe Rabbeinu's nachas is not from his children. Moshe Rabbeinu's nachas is from his Talmidim, from Yeshua. So I want to tell you 2 things, and I want to say this. It's wrong to say this because how could to justify, to make sense out of such a great person like Moshe Rabbeinu should not have nachas with his kids? It's not fair. So I'm going to say several things. Number 1, that Moshe Rabbeinu was not in this world. Moshe Rabbeinu was not in this world. Moshe Rabbeinu was over there. He was an Ishel king, right? Aaron HaKohen is in this world, right? What's the proof? What's the proof? Moshe Rabbeinu was told that he has to separate from his wife. A Kohen Gadol, if he's not married, is not allowed to go into the Kiddush HaMikdash. Remember? If a Kohen Gadol doesn't have a wife, he cannot serve in Yom Kippur. He has to be married. Moshe Rabbeinu was not in this world. So he had children. But there was a disconnect between Moshe Rabbeinu and the children that he had, because the children that he had and the way the Eibishter made Moshe Rabbeinu be, Moshe had no connection to. This is one insight.
What do you mean no connection?
Have you ever met geniuses? Know the geniuses? Know what a genius is? How do you say it in Hebrew?
Genius? God?
Yeah, go on.
Oh.
Yeah. Are geniuses normal?
Like, you study all the time?
No, are they?
No.
They're not normal. Are the children of geniuses geniuses? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Are the parents of geniuses geniuses?
Also not.
Yeah, a regular guy, and he has one child whose brain is different, and boom, it's not normal.
But it's not genius.
One second. Why? Because in life, we have to be here, we have to integrate, live with all the other people. And we have to raise our children to be like us, to live with other people. Some people are created by the Eibishter that they're separate. For those people who are separate, their whole trajectory is different. They have a different existence. Now, geniuses are not complete people. Geniuses are not tzaddikim. Geniuses could be geniuses in one way, and all of the ways that they don't know how to tie their shoes. Moshe Rabbeinu was a tzaddik. He was completely one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But Moshe Rabbeinu was not in this world. He was not. So there was a disconnect between Moshe Rabbeinu and his connection to this world. I'm not trying to justify why this was. I'm just trying to give you a thought. Aaron HaKohen had to be a father of children, had to be married, otherwise can't be a Kohen Gadol. And even he, Nadav and Avihu, couldn't live. His older two sons couldn't live. Only his younger two sons. And his younger two sons were on a lower madrege. Nadav and Avihu are much higher than Lazar's son. Because you got to be in the world for it to last, to be sustained. This is number one. And number two, and this is very controversial, every neshama comes into this world to elevate sparks. Levarer birurim. Most neshamas come into this world to elevate sparks, and they don't finish what they start. So if a neshama comes into this world to elevate sparks and doesn't finish, who finishes it? His children finish it. What happens to a neshama that comes into this world and elevates all of his sparks? He leaves nothing for his children.
Wow.
Yeah. How do I know this? Because there's actually a story. There was a chassid of the Alter Rebbe. Whose name was Rabbi Aaron Levi Horowitz, Rabbi Strashelin. He was a very, very big tzaddik. And his grandchildren are in Lubavitch. There's a lot of Horowitzes in Lubavitch who are his descendants. So the Rebbe Rashab, the fifth Lubavitch Rebbe, once said to one of Rabbi Aaron Strashelin's grandchildren, your father was such a big tzaddik. He elevated everything and he left nothing for you, and that's why you're a Bashita person. The Rebbe Rashab said to a chassid, your Zayde was such a big tzaddik. He finished everything and he left for you nothing. That's why you're a simple person. And he was very insulted. This man was very insulted. And the Rebbe Rashab saw that he hurt his feelings. So the Rebbe Rashab said, in Yiddish, the pselas from gold is echet gold. The waste of gold is also gold. But one of the ways of explaining why Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have nachas from his children, because he pushed and left them for nothing to do. Whatever Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama needed to be completed, so his children are nothing. There was no avodah. There was no struggle. There was no avodas Hashem. So maybe they were separated from Moshe Rabbeinu. There are probably other explanations, but these are just two thoughts, two different insights into this fact. Moshe Rabbeinu has two children. His older son is Gershom. His younger son is Eliezer, and I explained to you why. He names the older son Gershom and the younger son Eliezer, and Moshe Rabbeinu, they're his children. But Moshe Rabbeinu does not really have nachas from them the way Moshe deserved. Okay? Questions or comments?
Why are kids?
It's a mitzvah. That's enough of a reason. In the Gemara, there's a story. A man whose name was Chizkiyahu HaMelech. Remember Chizkiyahu HaMelech? Chizkiyahu HaMelech is one of the biggest tzaddikim in history. Chizkiyahu HaMelech did not get married. Why not? Because he knew B'ruach HaKodesh that his children were going to be big Rishonim.
Would be what?
Rishaim Gemurim.
Because he's very sick.
Because I don't know. This is what he knew. That his children were going to be Rishonim and he got married. So he got sick. And he was dying. And the Navi Yeshaya comes to him and says to him, you know why you're dying? You know why you're dying? Because Hashem gave you a mitzvah to get married and you're not doing the mitzvah. So Chizkiyahu says to Yeshaya, but I know what kind of children I'm going to bring into this world. It's better than not born. And Yeshaya says to Chizkiyahu, do not play God. That's not your business. Hashem gave you a mitzvah, you do your mitzvah and leave it to the Eibishter. So what Chizkiyahu HaMelech do? He married Yeshaya's daughter. Wow. Yeshaya Hanavi. He figured, I'm a tzaddik. My wife is a tzaddik. How bad could the kids be? And he had a son whose name was Menashe Melech Yisrael. You know what Menashe did? He killed his own grandfather. He murdered Yeshaya Hanavi. Imagine, Menashe Melech Yisrael, one of the biggest Yeshayim in the whole history. Cassius. And why? So why do you have kids? Because Hashem said. If we knew everything the Eibishter knows, we'd be crazy. Or the Eibishter. So Moshe Rabbeinu had kids. Go ahead. Go ahead. Everybody has a purpose. The purpose is to learn Torah and do mitzvahs. But Torah and mitzvahs is limited. Sparks are infinite. When Mashiach comes, if a person lives and only learns Torah and does mitzvahs, their purpose is limited. And their connection to the Eibush is also limited. When and if a Yid elevates sparks or does tshuva, this is their infinity, this is their ligavol, this connected to Hashem in an infinite way. And some neshamas have the purpose of learning Torah and doing mitzvahs, but they don't have the purpose of elevating sparks. So they don't get the koiches, they don't get the strength that comes from those sparks. You understand? Okay. Anybody else have questions or comments? Go ahead.
I would like the sparkle of at the end of the day, I would like the sparkle of the river.
Okay, I don't know the pasuk offhand, okay?
Now it says.
Well, that's a deeper idea. No, that's a deeper idea. Because Mashiach and David HaMelech are called Bar Nafla. Bar Nafla means they're not supposed to be born. They're supposed to die in childbirth. The neshamas are so high, they have no connection to this world. And the Eibishter is going to bring them into this. So this is actually the opposite. It's a different idea completely. It's different. But okay, point well taken. Okay, one more pasuk and then we'll break. Vayava Yisra comes. Choisei Moshe, the father of Moshe Rabbeinu, Uvanav and his children, Vishtei and his wife, El Moshe to Moshe, El Amidbar to the desert, Asher Hu Choynesham, where Moshe Rabbeinu was written, Har Ha'olikim, the mountain of God, which goes on Har Sinai. So Rashi says, Yisra comes, And he brings along Moshe's wife, and he brings Moshe's children, and he tells Moshe, I'm here, come and see me. And he says, if you don't want to come to see me, come to see your wife. If you don't want to come to see your wife, come and see your children. So let's read one more, we'll stop. Vayemer el Moshe. Yisrael sends a message to Moshe Rabbeinu. Ani chosencha Yisrei boyelacha. I am your father-in-law, and I am Yisrei, and I came to you. Normally, how does it work? The son goes to the father-in-law. Here, the father-in-law says, I'm older than you, and I'm your father-in-law. And this halachas of kibbutz of aim on a father-in-law, at least midrabanon, and nevertheless, Ani chosencha boyelacha. I am coming to you, as Chazal say, Rashi brings. Kan ha-choisen mischabe b'chos. Normally, children are proud of parents. Here, the parent is proud of his father, of his son. You know who I am? I'm the father-in-law of Moshe Rabbeinu. Because I am your father-in-law, but I recognize that you are Moshe Rabbeinu and I'm not Moshe Rabbeinu. So I'm coming to you, Ishtecha, and I brought along your wife, Shnei Baneha, and her two children, Ima along with her. Now notice, it doesn't say Shnei Banecha. It says Shnei Baneha. Her two children. There's many ways of explaining it. A little bit I explained it already. I don't want to troll too much at the bottom. I want to make myself more trouble. So Yisrael comes and he tells Moshe Rabbeinu. So the pasuk continues. The pasuk Zayin vayetze Moshe. Moshe goes out to greet him. We're going to break now. Okay. You think we can do 5 minutes? 5 minutes. A quarter to. We'll continue. We're good. Okay.